Why are we failing our kids? I have no idea. I don't understand this. We have child labor laws to protect kids. We have laws against child neglect and child abuse, appropriately so, to protect kids. We help kids get medical care and so many other things. Why? Because we know they are kids and they can't do it for themselves. We protect our children. That's what we're supposed to do. So why are we failing them here? Why, when kids under the age of 12 cannot get vaccinated for COVID, are we taking away perhaps one of the only mitigation methods they have to stay safe in schools, which is masks? Why are we making it optional? Why are we not giving kids and families the security of knowing that that's going to be in place to help them? Now, I know some people are going to say, well, you know what? It's important to give parents choice. That's the most important thing. Well, you know what I say about that? Of course, choice is important, but the problem is with something like Delta variant and COVID, what we're seeing now is that if some people, even just a few people, don't wear their mask, it can easily put the entire rest of the community at risk. This is not the same thing as other choice matters. If there are just a few parents that opt out of masking for their child, that could literally put the entire environment, the entire school at risk. So yes, while parental choice is important for many things, this is a situation where everyone masking in schools is going to be imperative. See, remember, children not only under the age of 12 can they not get vaccinated, but they also can't pass laws that protect them from getting COVID either. They are completely vulnerable and they are reliant on us to try to do and to do the right thing. That means the rest of us, we have to get vaccinated. Those who are over the age of 12 must get vaccinated. But we also have to make sure that people in schools are wearing masks and doing the other mitigation methods. Now, I know some of you might say, well, COVID is kind of like the flu. I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, COVID's like the flu. What's the big deal if kids mask up or not? It should be our choice, et cetera. Well, first of all, COVID is not like the flu. We do know that COVID is more dangerous than the flu. We've talked about that. I've done videos about that. We know that COVID is highly transmissible, especially this Delta variant that we were seeing. And just to put this in perspective, since 2004, we have lost on average 37 to 199 children every year from the flu, which is tragic in and of itself. But since the start of the COVID pandemic, we have already lost 542 children to COVID. Guys, COVID is not like the flu. So that is not a reason to forgo mask mandates and to say that they don't matter and we don't need them. Some of you might say, well, COVID, okay, well, it's okay. Maybe you're saying it's not like the flu, Dr. Jen, fine. But the symptoms are mild in kids. Kids don't usually get really sick when they get it. They don't usually transmit it. It's not that big of a deal. We should not have to wear masks in schools. I don't want my kid wearing a mask. Well, here I have to take issue with that as well, okay? Because yes, the majority of cases, thank goodness, are mild, right? Thank goodness for that. But as I just mentioned, there have been 542 plus counting children who have died from COVID since the beginning of the pandemic. Not only that, we know that kids can develop MISC, that's multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children, that has landed many children in the ICUs, hospitalized with serious medical problems. We also know that long COVID does exist. We still need to know more about how it affects kids, but this opens them up for the potential. Are you willing to risk your kids' future, their future health potentially, so that they don't have to wear a mask? What if they get COVID and develop long COVID? Again, not saying this will happen, but we do know adults have sequelae, and there's still a lot more we have to learn in kids about this. And finally, we're seeing COVID cases increasing all throughout the country, and pediatric hospitals, pediatric ICUs are being overrun with kids who are hospitalized with COVID. So yes, while the majority of kids with COVID have mild symptoms, they can certainly be very severe. And we have lost children, unfortunately. And remember, kids can transmit COVID to other people. When it comes to schools, masks are not the only mitigation method or effort that we need to be putting in place, of course. There needs to be widespread testing. There needs to be social distancing. There needs to be good ventilation in the schools. And I know schools are going to do their very best to do this, but it's hard and it's not easy. We do know, and I believe that kids should be in school to learn because it's good for their growth and development and their education, but they have to be safe. And you know what? If they're not safe and if they're getting COVID, if they get COVID, schools are going to be shut down. And you know who that affects? That affects kids, Because number one, likely kids are getting COVID, which is why the school is being shut down. So kids will be sick, but it will also impact their education. But it's also going to impact adults, right? Because that means your daycare, childcare, work plans that you have established may need to be changed at the last minute. You know, the idea of kids getting COVID is not a small thing. If you think that kids wearing masks in schools is a big thing, think about the alternative. Think about the possibility of kids dying from COVID, getting sick with COVID, possibly long hauler symptoms, ICU cases, or even simply the idea that your work schedule might be altered, daycare plans, childcare plans, and everything else might be disrupted to a point that makes it problematic for you and your family. Aren't those things enough? Honestly, the health of our children should be enough, and really that is enough, and that is what I'm saying. But if you need other reasons, take a listen to those, and I hope you agree with me. But we can't fail our kids. There need to be mask mandates. If you're going to school, you need to be wearing a mask. The fact that it's even on the table, that it's even an option, makes me sad for our kids. Because we are a nation who protects our kids. We do this in many different ways, day in and day out. And depending, no matter what side of the aisle you are on, I can pretty much guarantee that you believe that too. So why are we failing them here? Why are masks an option here? We've got enough problems. We have enough to worry about just with them going back to school, even with masks. And you want to take them away or make them optional, which, by the way, increases the risk of the entire community for getting COVID? That sounds like a good idea? In the name of parental choice or whatever, or what have you? Guys, I need you to think about that. We need masks for kids and teachers and everyone in schools. We need to keep our kids and our teachers and our administrators and everyone in schools safe. Right now, it's not looking good. There may be many schools that are pushing back their start date that will have to close very quickly. Time will tell. We hope that doesn't happen, but we are seeing kids in the hospitals left and right. And if we don't get our act together, it's going to get worse. And it will get worse for us all, especially our kids. And they don't deserve this. Guys, I'm Dr. Jen Caudle. I'm a practicing family physician and an on-air health expert and video creator. I do daily videos on all sorts of stuff, including COVID and COVID in kids. If you've not subscribed to my channel or clicked the little bell for updates, I invite you to do so. I also have a group called I Got the COVID Vaccine on my Facebook page, or on Facebook rather. You can find a link to that group in the description of this video. Join the group to learn more about the COVID vaccine and hear from people who are getting it. Make sure you get the COVID vaccine and get your children vaccinated if they are eligible. Also make sure that you're wearing your mask when it's appropriate. Guys, once again, if you've not subscribed and liked my channel, please do. I will be back soon with more videos. Guys, keep it locked here. I'll see you soon.